talk about the Poles, the Germans, the English. Right. So they hate you. Why do you go there? He said, nobody hates me. I'm not hated. And then he says, I want, I'm going to go, there is a festival for Jewish culture. When I heard that, I said, for Jewish culture? In Krakow? What kind of a festival is that? For whom? Where are the Jews? To me, it was. And he started explaining and this and that, and that about the center, that we have a center now, wonderful center, and so forth. You should see it, you should this and that. And Felek was not just anybody. He was a person who, he was a writer. He was a great personality, very well known to people and so on, and very highly respected person. And so I said, listen, you tell my mother I can't go. I can't because she would never understand where I'm going. So he said, yes, I'll tell her. I will go. And he was coming to see us very often anyway. So he started telling us about this and that, and she told my mother that there's a festival and that we have a center. It would be very interesting for Lili to see, and so forth. So my mother said, all right, you can go with Felek, you can go. And that's how we went with Peter. Except when I arrived, when I was on the plane, and I saw Krakow underneath, I started crying and there was no controlling. I couldn't control it for hours. For hours I cried. It was like something that all these years came out. And we were expected by somebody who, I had a very nice young person from Krakow who was sort of caring for my mother with me. And she always asked me to come and to come, you must come, you must come. And I said, yes, one day I'll come, and I never. And when I was coming eventually, she and her husband were waiting for her. And I was in such tears that I could hardly see who is there, who is there. And when he started taking us driving, we were staying at the Grand there in the hotel. But he wanted to do something good for us, and wanted to take us through the street where I lived and the house where we lived. And that was the end. I couldn't control myself. It was terrible. And for a little while, that the first trip was like that. Yeah, it was terribly moving. I couldn't believe I'm in Krakow. I couldn't believe that. Because I had Krakow in my heart all the time, all the time. Krakow lived inside me. And I'm here. It's not possible. I couldn't fathom it.
You had it under your skin.
Yeah, I had it. Absolutely. Absolutely. When talking on the phone, when I do doodle, at the end, I didn't even know what I was doing. It was Krakow. I wrote Krakow, and I completely subconsciously, completely. Somebody else would draw something, I don't know, circles or whatever, did some doodles. And I put down Krakow in every single time, completely subconsciously. So I loved Krakow, yes, very much.
Well, from the sound of it, you still do.
I do, I love Krakow, yes, I do.
I just wanted to tell you a slight digression when you were talking about the Jewish Culture Festival in Krakow. I grew up in the 80s in Poland and went to school there, and actually didn't know.
Who a Jew was?
No, I didn't know anything about Jews in Poland.
Yeah.
I mean, I did know about the war and the concentration camps and things like that. That was taught at school. But when you traveled in Poland, there were no signs anywhere, nothing. I remember then in the 90s when I was at uni in Warsaw, because I started in Warsaw and then in Krakow as well. And I traveled a bit through Poland and, finding places where, there is a building that even if you don't know, you can figure out it was most likely a synagogue. and it's either completely abandoned or it has become a shop or something like that. And there are still places like that.
Oh, yeah.
But I remember specifically going to Krakow because when I was in high school, I would go every winter for winter holidays. I had a friend in Krakow and I could stay with her. And I would go, and that was the thing that I wanted to, just schmooze around Kazimierz, which was at that time, we're talking early 90s.
I know, it was looking terrible,
Yeah.
of course, yes.
And then the first time I heard about the Jewish Culture Festival in Krakow, it was like amazing that suddenly somebody is talking about it, doing those things, showing it to people. I didn't know much, so it was new to me as well, but I knew that there was this gap. I could feel that there was this...
There was something missing.
Yeah, that was very, very apparent. Even for somebody who actually, at that stage, I wasn't well read upon it. I didn't learn much at school. I learned nothing in my family. But there was this feeling of...
There was no talk anywhere about it.
And I have a friend who is a writer in Poland, a very good poet and a writer. And he's my age, in his mid-40s. And this year he's done this, he lives somewhere in Silesia. He's done a few trips around different parts of Poland, basically going to places where there were there was Jewish
communities.
Life. And he describes in a very kind of poetic way his experiences and how he sees it. And again, he's somebody like me who grew up in a country that kept it all silent at the time. It all started coming out later, and it's amazing to you telling your story, and there's this suddenly you mentioned the Jewish culture festival in Krakow.
Absolutely.
And I'm thinking,
that was to me.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe. I couldn't understand what you mean. Jewish festival, Jewish culture. Where are the Jews? And the fact is, until today, where are the Jews? The festival is really not for the Jews.
No.
Because the people who dance, the people who think they're not Jews, there are no Jews.
Yeah, but that's...
The people come, they come now from abroad. They come for it because they're curious to see and so on. But as such, in the crowd, when you see the last evening, the crowd, there are no Jews in it, in the crowd. No matter. But this is that's what I mean. It might as well be Chinese festival of Chinese culture, would be the same. But here, I'm not sure, I don't know. It always is painful for me to see. Painful when people dance a hora, and who is dancing the hora, which is nice, which is very nice. I'm not saying that in a negative sense, but there are no Jews there. The Jews don't dance it. It's non-Jews who dance the hora.
Don't you think that there is actually quite a lot of people who may have Jewish roots somewhere in history?
Oh, yes.
They may not know it.
Of course, yes. Oh, I know quite a few people.
Exactly.
I do know, yes, certainly. And I'm amazed that they're interested in this music and in this, so to speak, culture, because there isn't very much culture now in this festival, let's face it. It's more like a hip-hop. It isn't Jewish culture. Where are the painters? Where are the writers? They're not. The warsztaty mają, workshops, there isn't. And the last evening is impossible. I mean, it's really a hip-hop. There is no Jewish music. This is not Jewish music. This is not, where are the klezmers? That's not the Jewish music. Where is some Mendelssohn? Where is some, nothing like that. But it's called Festival of Jewish Culture. Very nice. They have it and people like it and they come and they are interested and they, fine. But to me then, it was like, what do you mean it's Jewish culture? What are the Jews? For whom? For whom? I couldn't believe that it can be for non-Jews. That the culture could be for non-Jews, because where are the Jews? There were 80 Jews then in Krakow.
Yeah, but it's like you probably read it. It's been published a good few years ago, an autobiography of Agata Tuszyńska.
Oh yes.
And that, you know, I will always remember that bit when
Yeah.
she's talking about
Yes.
not having a clue, and, you know, having Christmas tree for Christmas,
Yeah,
and
well,
really
I
not
know a
knowing.
number of
Yeah.
such people.
And
I know a number of them. They're mostly in Warsaw, not in Krakow, really. But absolutely, they had no idea. How about how about Elżbieta Ficowska? How about that? At the age of 18, she perchance learned, somebody said to her, you're a Jew. She had no idea what it was, what it meant.
Yeah.
So, this is a very tragic thing. What about the priest, famous priest, the Wexler Waszkinel, who was a priest already for 10 years when he learned that he's a Jew?
No. So what I'm saying is that there are probably more people in Poland,
There are, I'm
but
sure.
they may
Without
not be
knowing, unaware,
of
of
their
course,
own
yes.
family history.
Of course there
I mean, I
are.
remember as a teenager digging in my family history. Actually, naively and stupidly, I know, but I was 17, that's my
Yeah.
defense, wanting to find, because I was so fascinated with Jewish culture, that I wanted to
But
find
why
that
were you
connection.
fascinated with
I
the
don't
Jews?
know. I still
Because they
can't
were
explain
missing,
it.
because they weren't there.
That
Because they
was
weren't
definitely
there.
that. I had a feeling that there's this big
Something
gaping
missing,
gap.
yes. It is.
And it was like an open wound. It was
Yes, sure.
sore.
Yeah.
And I wanted to find out, so I
Absolutely,
started to read
Yes.
and learn a little bit about the history and the culture and everything else. But then, in my naivety of a 17-year-old, I actually wanted to find more. I wanted to find a connection,
Yes,
my
yes,
connection.
sure.
And I
You
found
never
it.
know. You never know. You might have somebody. I mean, listen, where do we all stem from? So how is that? I mean, people learn every. I think today they have this program on today. Who do you think you are? Yes, and it's this actor Daniel Radcliffe.
Yes.
It's that boy who was
Harry Potter,
yeah. And he now discovers that he's Jewish, his grandfather or mother or whatever it is, never knew. I mean, because we were mixed. We mixed a lot, and who knows what. Except in the Jewish religion, of course, they say if it's your mother, then yes, if it's your father, that doesn't matter. Nonsense, But the blood is mixed.
Yeah, blood is blood, yeah.
Yes. And I know a number of people, I know a number of women in Warsaw who learned very late, that they actually are Jewish, that they were given away as a child. Do you know how many children, Mrs. Sandler? So these children didn't know when they were very small, were brought up by them, and maybe stayed there with these, so to speak, parents. What did they know?
Yeah.
So it's all a very
mixed bag.
Very much so, and it's sad because, when I see these children and so on, how we all get along, we people get along, but we're not allowed to get along. When I go and I speak to these various groups of people, and I see they come from all denominations, all religions, all colors, and they all play and they're all together, and they get on. Nobody calls anybody names.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it comes from elsewhere. It's like you said, that girl at school.
Yeah. Suddenly, where would she have known? She must have heard at home.
Yeah.
She must have done. Because how would she ever have known? And I've wondered many times, I maybe would have liked to have met her and confronted her and asked her, do you remember this and this? What made you do that? What? Would you do it today also? I mean, what made you do it? Because how come? I mean, it's preconceived. It's not something spontaneous. She must have thought about it, and she must have thought, how to do me some harm.
But why would she want to do you harm?
Exactly, it's why precisely. Who knows?
I don't know if you saw this clip. It was in the internet a while ago. It's about what we as adults do to children in the process of bringing them up,
yeah.
and how they are before they are affected by
Yes,
that.
yes.
And
sure.
there's this two best friends. They are maybe 5-year-old. I think it's here in Britain, not in America, but they're English speaking. One is white, one is very, very black. And the white boy gets a haircut, very short head, and he said, "Look, I have a haircut like my friend. Nobody will be able to tell us apart now." And it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
Why would it matter?
Of course not. But there you are. This is what Hitler brought. And,
Yeah.
and not only it was there, it was always
I think it's
dormant
human
here
nature,
also,
unfortunately.
Here also, yeah.
I think we
So
like
what
building.
what do they say? That the world is the life is very simple, but people make it confusing or something like that. Yeah, children are not born bad. That's for sure. They're not born bad. But you can instill many things into a child.
I don't know if you've heard what happened in Poland last Saturday.
Now tell me, in Białystok, tell me what happened, because I heard this morning somebody told me from Krakow, and something in Tarnów also.
I don't know
apparently, in the new cemetery that was renovated.
Oh yes.
That something happened there. I don't know exactly what.
But
in Białystok, what happened?
In Białystok was there was the first Pride March in Białystok. And you know, Białystok is very...
no tak, młodość, polska młodzież.
Tak, Białystok jest bardzo prawicowy, tam ci wszyscy na ziole i tak dalej. Zresztą w tej chwili, dzisiaj nawet czytałam jakiś post na Facebooku, gdzie ktoś po prostu wyliczył, ile było przypadków, kiedy lokalna prokuratura umorzyła postępowanie przeciwko właśnie jakimś prawicowcom napadającym ludzi tam lokalnie i udowodnili powiązania między policją, między lokalnymi politykami, że to wszystko jest ta sama grupa ludzi. W sobotę szedł sobie ten marsz, lokalny arcybiskup, już nie wiem, czy to było kazanie, czy list, który był przeczytany w lokalnych parafiach, gdzie on oczywiście nie nawoływał wprost do przemocy, ale to było tak sformułowane, że wiadomo było, o co chodzi, gdzie mówił o tym, że trzeba tu bronić wartości chrześcijańskich, polskiej rodziny przed tymi, którzy deprawują dzieci i tak dalej, i tak dalej. Efekt był taki, że marsz przeszedł całą trasę, nie udało mi się go zablokować, natomiast były jakieś straszne rozruby. Parę osób zostało dosyć poważnie pobitych, rzucali kamieniami, jajkami, już nawet nie będę powiedziała to, co wybrzaskiwali. A przypomniało mi się to, dlatego że tam był taki przypadek, który ktoś opisał, bo widział. Zresztą zaraz pani przekopiuję to i przyślę pani mailem. Wspaniały tekst Jacka Denela o tym, który był na tym marszu i który to opisał, który zresztą w tej chwili chyba jedna z tłumaczek na angielski tłumaczy, więc mam nadzieję, że zaraz to się gdzieś tutaj w prasie też pojawi. Tam był taki...
W jakiej prasie? To się okaże.
Zobaczymy. No, pani nie używa Facebooka, bo to wszystko się na Facebooku oczywiście, ale to ja z Facebooka to przekopiuję i wyślę pani, jak mój mail dojdzie. Jak nie, to następnym razem przywiozę ze sobą wydrukowane. Ale o czym chciałam? O takiej sytuacji, gdzie był, już nie pamiętam, czy to była mamusia, czy tatuś, chyba nawet mamusia, która była tam na tym marszu ze strony kontry, czyli tych prawicowców, ze swoim małym dzieckiem, która go uczyła, po pierwsze uczyła go fakować do tych marszujących, a po drugie uczyła go wykrzykiwać różnych rzeczy w rodzaju przepraszam, uszy panią zabolą, wypierdalajcie z Polski pedały i takie rzeczy. I myślę, no kurczę, a to było jakieś, nie wiem, 4-letnie dziecko? To się po prostu w głowie nie mieści.
No to tak jak Arabowie przecież uczą swoich małe dzieci, które karabiny i Bóg wie co, żeby strzelać, uczą im mordować, no to straszne, to też mówię. Dzieci łatwo jest nauczyć dobrego i bardzo łatwo nauczyć coś złego. Jeszcze łatwiej.
No to zawsze
łatwiej. Naturalnie, bo
dobro.
tak jest. Tak jest, także to coś okropnego.
No, w Polsce się teraz naprawdę nie dzieje dobrze.
Nie dzieje się dobrze.
No, ale to. Pani Lili, wydaje mi się, że mam tam teraz nagrane z górką do tego pierwszego rozdziału.
Proszę jeść winogrona do tego, no.
I teraz tak, złapię swój telefon, jeśli pani pozwoli.
No. Ja pani dam.
Jak się ruszę, to mi nie zaszkodzi. Będę teraz w Londynie, bo tak sobie... Aha, dobrze, to ja to